ideas have consequences. And when she says, we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to the whole community, I take her at her word. This was scripted, and that idea, whether she means it or not, is very dangerous, and it has serious consequences. And it is something that has been tried throughout history, Bill. And look, let me go to my Orwell thing, because it's dangerous to use, as I said in my piece, it's dangerous to compare this to other regimes. So Orwell did us a favor by creating these sort of fictional dystopian ideas. But in 1984, he writes, the family could not actually be abolished, and indeed, people were encouraged to be fond of their children in an almost old-fashioned way. The children, on the other hand, were systematically turned against their parents and taught to spy on them and report their deviations. In Animal Farm, Bill, Napoleon the pig, who is said to represent Joseph Stalin, takes away the puppies from their mother, saying, quote, he could make himself responsible for their education. And, of course, we know that later on those same puppies are used by Napoleon to seize control of the Animal Farm. I realize at this point I sound insane. But Orwell was a...
But you know, the point, I mean, you're calling it dangerous. I just call the argument dumb. You know, what she says after that is that we've never invested in public education as much as we should. Well, maybe that's true. You don't have to break through some notion of children being a private responsibility to convince politicians to spend more on public education. Like you don't have to do that. That's not essential to winning your point. And I used to have some arguments with folks, you know, people I know personally, not politicians or anything, during the healthcare debate, and they would say, you know, we got to get over this notion that everyone get all the healthcare they want. We have to start rationing care. And I'd be like, if someone's got to get there and say that, I'm like, actually, no, they don't. You don't have to ration care to have healthcare reform. That's actually not essential to bending the cost curve. But there are liberals out there that have crude, unsophisticated thoughts like that. I think because they haven't thought through the issue fully and they don't know all the nuances of the subject. So I'm sure you can find individual people that say dumb things like that.
Do you think they were trolling us because it worked? Do you think that she was accidentally revealing a worldview that's dangerous, or do you believe that they're just incompetent and that they had no idea, didn't mean to offend, had no idea this would be provocative?
I lean towards the latter, and I think talking about the dynamic of what does it mean to liberals that we're winning on a lot of things right now. I think there was this time during the Bush years where there was tons of emphasis on language and framing, where George Lakoff became a star and Drew Weston became a star. Let's think very carefully about the words that we use that are going to communicate our values in a way that resonate with the broader public, and that pressure has subsided, and now I think this is an early example of what does it mean to communicate your view in the dumbest, most ham-handed way possible that completely obscures your actual point. So I'm not afraid. I'm only afraid in that I think she is setting liberals up for more problems by using that kind of language. I don't think the actual ideology she was trying to present is actually scary. I think she has said it in a really stupid way. And at a minimum, I don't think you're going to see a lot of liberal proposals that involve taking responsibility away from parents and not letting them be parents. That's just not. I mean, obviously there are concerns that look at things like, you know, we should have sex ed in schools because that's a parent's responsibility. You know, there are obviously issues like that where liberals would say that's ridiculous. It's a public health matter, and we need to have good public health education, not freelance it. You know, I don't look at that as taking my responsibility as a parent. I see that as, I mean, we already have public schooling. You know, we've already had the debate that public schooling is a good, and we do invest in it, and we do teach things in school that I'm not going to teach my kid math at home. I'm not a homeschooler. Most parents are not. I don't consider it as a fundamental robbing me of my authority as a parent. So that's why I dispute her premise. We don't have to have that argument right now. We've had that argument, and liberals have won that argument. Now, maybe how much you do it, how much you invest in it, what specific things you teach, those arguments still have to get played out. But the fundamental argument's already been won.